If you can hear the sound of my voice, you still have a chance to win your league championship. This episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the best place to play fantasy sports, including best ball, daily drafts, and pick'em. Download Underdog Fantasy today and use the promo code GAMEPICK. Here are the waiver wire targets you need to focus on for Week 22 of the NBA Fantasy Playoff Season. From the Los Angeles Lakers, Austin Reeves. He's only rostered in 42% of Yahoo leagues, 11% of ESPN leagues. Now keep in mind, the Lakers only play 3 games this week. But check this out. Over the last 7 days, Austin Reeves has averaged 28.3 minutes per game. So he's getting tons of playing time. 17.3 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, but check this out, 5.3 assists and about half a steal. Listen, LeBron James is out. I don't think LeBron James is going to be coming back in the regular season. And honestly, I don't even know if the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. I don't know if it's worth the King putting any extra miles on that Rolls Royce of a bod. Excuse me, I got a little personal there. Anyway, you look at it, he broke Kareem's record. I don't think he's coming back. As long as LeBron James is not on the floor, Austin Reeves has tons of value. So if he's available on your waiver wire, I would give him a shot in Week 22. From the Charlotte Hornets, Nick Richards. Now listen, I've been talking about Mark Williams all season. I was super hyped on him, but he's injured and they have no reason to bring him back. The season is almost over. He's a extremely valuable asset for their team. So Nick Richards is getting the run. Over the last 7 days, he's averaged 28.3 minutes per game, 10.3 points, 9.3 rebounds. So he's killing a bunch of different categories. 2.3 assists, 0 steals. But check this out. 3 blocks per game. Cha-ching! Listen, if you are in a category league and you're trying to get your daggone blocks up, he is a surefire way for you to win that category this week. So I would go ahead and fire up Nick Richards. By the way, I'm Robin Marks from Game Pick Fantasy Basketball. You can connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Game Pick Podcast. If you love fantasy sports, please consider subscribing, give this episode a like, and hit the bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss any of these fantasy gems. We release new episodes every single week. If you need help with your team, drop a comment with your question. Very important. If you have follow-up questions or more than one question, do not reply to your comment on the same thread. Just start a brand new comment thread so I don't miss any of your questions. I will answer every single comment for this episode. Next up, we have back-to-back Indiana Pacers guards. First up, we have Andrew Nembhard. He's only rostered in 4.7% of ESPN leagues. Guys, he is available widely. So check this out. Over the last 7 days, he has averaged 32.3 minutes per game, 19.3 points per game. We cooking. 2.7 rebounds. We don't pick up Nembhard for rebounds. Check this out. 6.7 assists, crushing. Now it's worth noting that Tyrese Halliburton is injured right now, so there's going to be tons of opportunity. I would fire up Nembhard if you can. The second Pacer we want to take a look at is TJ McConnell, someone who is a common discussion point here on this show. Throughout this season, he's been kind of a roller coaster of value, and it all depends on if Tyrese Halliburton is playing. As I just said, Tyrese is going to be out, so that means it's time to just hit full throttle on McConnell. With that being said, over the last 7 days, 30 minutes per game, 19 points per game, 3 rebounds, but we don't pick up McConnell for rebounds. 12 assists per game over the last 7 days. My head just exploded. Check this out. 1 steal per game. So if you need steals, if you need assists in category leagues, or if you're in a points league and you just want to pick up a guard that's going to contribute to you bringing home that championship, grab yourself some TJ McConnell. Next up is the Discord question of the week. To join our free private Discord of over 1,300 fantasy basketball fanatics, all you have to do is hit the link in the description of this episode. This question is from Game Pick Aficionado OG, one of our most dedicated and faithful members, my man Ant Tech. He says, do you find it better to utilize one streamer a day or look for players that play back-to-backs? That is a great question. And especially when you're in the playoffs, these are the kind of things you have to think about, right? So for me, I'm going to say it's not an either or. I do both. So every single day that I can, I stream in a player. So if you have a low quality day where there's tons of games and you have players that are on your bench that you can't even play, then obviously I'm not going to be able to stream somebody that day. But any day where I have a chance to put somebody in my lineup because there's a vacancy there, I'm trying to do it. And I go above and beyond. When it comes to streaming, that's my jam. I don't stream one slot. I usually have 2 to 3 slots that I'm willing to actually stream. So I prefer to have a top heavy roster with some really strong superstars at the top and then a bunch of guys that I don't have any emotional attachment to, so I can drop them and win my championship. In terms of the other piece of your question, when you talked about back-to-backs, I think back-to-backs are very, very important. They're important in your week, but also they're important for the beginning of your week too. Now, what do I mean? You can pick up a player who does a Sunday and Monday back-to-back and help you in the following week. So if you're up in your matchup this week, you guys are likely in your playoffs. Most people are in their playoffs right now and you're way ahead. Or if you have a bye week, start looking ahead to next week. Like, yo, who's playing that Sunday and Monday back-to-back and how can I get them on my squad? And that's for any week of fantasy, not just week 22. So start thinking about how you can fully maximize those back-to-backs. Before we move on, I want to talk about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is the best place to play fantasy sports, including best ball, daily drafts, and pick'em. Start drafting in minutes for a shot at big cash and an enhanced game-watching experience. Did I mention that Kevin Durant and Mark Cuban invested in Underdog? Once I heard about those cosigns, I had to spread the news. Sign up today and use the promo code GAMEPICK, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. It's like getting free money. Don't miss out on your chance to double up from the jump. To sign up, download the Underdog Fantasy app on Android or iOS. Next up, we're going to go over the schedule for week 22 of the fantasy basketball playoffs. We're here on #basketball. Let's roll. Atlanta, Brooklyn, Golden State, Houston, Memphis, OKC, Philadelphia, the Kings, and the Wizards all play 4 games. The Celtics play 3 games. The Hornets, 4 games. The Cavs, 3 games. The Mavs, 4 games. Pay attention to this one. Denver and Detroit, the Nuggets and the Pistons both play 2 games. Stay away if you can. The Pacers, 4 games. The Lakers, 3 games. The Miami Heat, 2 games. Stay away. The Bucks, 3 games. Pels, 3 games. Magic, 3 games. Trailblazers, 3 games. Spurs, 4. Raptors, 3. Bulls, 4. Timberwolves, 3. Knicks, Suns, 3. Utah Jazz, 4. And the Los Angeles Clippers, 3 games in week 22. Again, if you need help with your fantasy squad, drop your questions in the comment section below. And again, very important, if you have a follow-up question, do not reply to your comment. Just start a brand new comment thread. I don't want to miss your question. I promise I will answer every single comment for this episode. If you want to learn more about our proven strategy for executing fantasy sports trades, please check out the next episode that pops up on your screen. And don't forget, play the waivers, set your lineups, and follow Game Pick, you frickin' fantasy nerd.